Night has fallen and you're weary from travel. Stars fill the sky above, and in front of you is a brightly lit wooden house, the only building you've seen for days. You walk toward the house, hearing the sounds of laughter and talk as you reach the door and push it open. You sit down and join the game. It's a cheap buy-in, and not many of the other players are very good. The lady fiddling with dice gets good cards, but has no real strategy. The man to your right seems to just hold on to the highest cards he has, regardless of suit or any consideration of matches. The man in gray across from you, though, he's good. He already had the largest pile of coins when you bought in, and while your winnings grow quickly, you can't quite catch him. One by one, the other players leave the table, sometimes with pique or with wry humor, leaving their winnings with you or the man in gray. Finally, it's just you and the man in gray. He looks at you, full of humor, and winks. Last hand? He deals, you draw, and look at your hand. It's good. It's great. The best hand, in fact. A royal straight flush. Spades. Aces high. But the man in gray pushes forward his whole pile. You're not sure exactly how much it is, but it's more than you've got. You can't match that. The man in gray stops you. Now, if you like, I'll let you wager your word. I know you'll be good for it. Just promise you'll pay the debt, however I ask. Yup, 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace. All spades. The man in gray smiles. All right then, I'll call.
Well, your luck wasn't so good, was it? That's quite the hand, but not for the game we're playing. I'm afraid you owe me. Your life, sure, but more than that, your labor. You see, this land is built on stories. It's one big story, this country, woven of many small ones. Few of the small ones are strictly true, and the big story is mostly a lie. All the stories and songs and myths and legends start somewhere, with a seed. As they're told and retold and passed around, they grow and change to become the stories we know. To pay your debt to me, you'll be carrying stories, finding the seeds first and then spreading them, telling them onwards so they can begin gaining strength. This is no light task. Stories are heavy. Most of the stories you'll find will be small seeds. They might be true, but they'll grow wild and unbelievable with the telling. The more important stories are the true ones, the ones people will tell you about their own lives. Those often get lost in the weaves of the big story. The more true stories you can find and tell, the more you can weave that truth into the big story. Tarnish it a bit perhaps, but isn't a dingy and battered truth better than a shining lie? Now, go ahead. You tell me a story. I'll trade you some information about your task. I'll strip away your flesh to make the journey easier, but still you will feel pain. Hunger, weariness, thirst, and despair. They're all part of stories, the part not often told. And death, yes, but don't worry. As long as your task remains, you come back. Travel, that's your job. Wander from place to place, gather those stories and spread them. People get bored hearing the same stories over and over, but an old cliche in one state might be a rip-roaring new yarn in another. You sometimes have to make choices about what kind of story you're finding. Is it a love story or a tragedy? Don't gather too many of one kind, though. This grand story needs variety. Deepest desires, your greatest wish, heaven, big rock candy mountain, El Dorado, the promised land, that place just over the ridge where they all say that the water tastes just like the sweetest wine. Well, I don't know where that is. It's supposed to be somewhere in this country. Ask the people you meet. They're all searching for the same thing. It's just luck. Funny how bad luck seems to follow the folks who already have problems aplenty. Well, try your luck out there in this country. See how the dice treat you. It's not all bad. You'll have to work hard, but I'll give you the gift for seeing the true shapes of people. Not many who can do that. Go on your way, seeker. Maybe we'll meet again, or maybe not. Either way, it'll be an experience for you. I'm jealous in some ways. I hope you find what you're looking for.
Ransacked. There's furniture piled in the front yard, ammunition heaped under the mailbox, and a crowd of clean-cut men ripping apart a car in the driveway. The two heavily armed, mud-caked women leaning over the porch railing share the same bored grin. One shouts at you. "Lend a couple innocent gals a cigarette?" You are about to hand her a smoke when those men draw pistols and shove you hard into the dirt. "You know these girls?" they demand. Once they've dumped your bag out into the road, they decide you're harmless. "If you were selling booze too, you'd have a lot more cash," sneers one. On the porch behind him, the two bootleggers are fingering their empty rifles, grinning in disappointment.
Well, I got no companion except the wind and the sea. And when I'm cold and empty, they're the ones who'll bury me. Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters.
Off the road and into the woods, you can't help but come across this package by the old tree tied to a sturdy stick. The cloth wrapping conceals, though not particularly well, something large and softly unsettled. Little eyes blink back at you from inside the bundle. The shape gives a start.
Please don't tell my pa that I'm in here.
It says in a small voice.
Pa doesn't want to live with us anymore. But I want to go with him. Don't tell him, please. I'm hiding.
You tell the boy you'll keep his secret. You don't see his father anywhere. You don't see another soul for miles. Come every year, you know. The old man is sitting at the edge of a rotting old pier, crooked legs dangling over the water. He watches a pair of seagulls preen and groom each other on a rock just off the shore. Just when the fishing is going to be good. He taps great, black, thick globs of spent tobacco out of a huge ceramic pipe. I got another year, I guess. Another year of this town being here, he replies, letting a grin spread across his face. If the seagulls came, that means enough fish to keep it in place. The woman walks the small town square with the poise of Betty Davis. The confident stride and inimitable mannerisms elevating the sidewalk into a plush Hollywood carpet. And wrapped around her neck, a yellow velvet ribbon, bright as an ocean sunrise. You question a well-dressed man parked outside an oyster house. Prudish woman. I took her on a fine date and she didn't remove so much as a ribbon. Excuse me, can you step back from the coupe? That's the spirit. You decide to seek a second opinion. You talk with a waitress smoking outside a diner. Something funny about her. Just showed up one day. Doesn't work, doesn't live anywhere far as I know. Just around.
Myself, I'd love to know who made all her beautiful clothes.
You ask the woman if you may join her at a public bench.
You may. Lovely outside, isn't it?
Her eyes are a beautiful shade of brown. Beneath the yellow ribbon, a thick, fibrous scar wraps around her throat.
Weather like this, it reminds me of Paris.
You can see storm clouds on the horizon, and you don't relish the thought of being caught wandering this rocky seaside road in the rain. Fortunately, you find the lighthouse door open, with a daunting staircase before you. At the top of an ornate wrought iron spiral, you're breathless and feeling the strain on your knees. Rain already batters the walls outside. You can only knock on a heavy wooden door leading into the upper level. Muffled voices and light seep in beneath the door. "Looks like we got a visitor." Sounds like a man's voice, deep and rough.
Well, behave yourself. I'll open the door.
Another man, this one with a higher, more sonorous voice. "I always behave myself." He feigns indignation, but his tone betrays affection instead. After a moment, the door unlatches from the inside and opens. The man before you is tall and muscular, with a hint of a paunch beneath his wide chest. The heavy iron knob on the door looks nearly dainty in his huge hand.
Didn't want to be out in this rain, did you? Come in.
Despite the rough exterior, this room looks like a well-appointed parlor. There's a rug on the well-trod wooden floor and an enormously plush couch. And sat upon it is a stocky fellow grinning through a great hazel-colored beard. "Tea?" he offers, hoisting a teapot.
Oh, we manage.
The tall one sits on the sofa, casually wrapping an arm around the other lighthouse keeper.
The quiet suits us just fine.
"He needs his quiet time. He's a writer." The tall one grunts.
I dabble. But you must have some good stories from the road.
You wake up the next morning on their old sofa, still warm from an excess of tea. And cakes? There might have been little cakes. Prodigious snoring rumbles in from the floor above you, and you quietly take your leave. A dusty truck and a man on horseback pull up next to one another in front of the grocer. Suddenly, the driver and the rider, two wiry old men with identical haircuts, start shrieking at one another. The man with the truck leaps into the street.
Brother!
He shouts. The one on the horse tumbles out of his saddle.
Brother!
He screams. They embrace in the road. 30 years, hollers the driver. The rider, tears streaming down over his face, corrects him. No, 32! Everyone here is watching these two older men cry and hug one another in the middle of Main Street. Cars and wagons are backing up. People are yelling.
Take a photo of us!
The driver begs you. Starts hauling a tripod out of the bed of his truck. As you usher them onto the sidewalk, the driver says,
Joe, I thought you were dead.
The rider freezes.
Joe?
He blurts.
I'm not Joe.
The two men stare at one another, each slowly recognizing something alien in their mistaken brother's face. The hotel is an old manor house that's seen better days. A grand structure surmounted by a gambrel roof that dwarfs the house itself. It's eerily still, but for two boys at play. Each one so small and light, they barely leave tracks in the deep snow. The clerk behind the counter is old, and your room key is worn. But night approaches, and the price is low. Just before you shut the room door, there they are, the twins, staring at you from the corridor. In the morning, as you leave, the clerk asks, "Did you sleep well?" Too tired to lie, you tell him about the noise outside your door, the trampling of small feet on the corridor outside, the dreams disturbed with violent and hideous images.
That's odd,
He says, weak-eyed.
there are no children staying with us.
Hey there, stranger. You're welcome to enjoy this fire with me, if you're respectful, that is. This here is my spot, and I ain't inclined to share it with any bad characters. You can call me Quinn. These here are my venturing companions. Cass is the big un, and the one with the spots is Flip. I usually beat my way on the rails, but the road news said this town was fat, and the weather was fine. So I'm taking in the sights and seeing what I can drum up. I'm in the mood for something real funny like. A couple good jokes can get you out of a fix sometimes. Well, lot about the past, but they say there's an Injun grave around these parts. Say it's haunted and full up with angry spirits. I used to love hearing stories of cowboys and Injuns fighting it up. Would swap tales with the youngins. But, well, I suppose if someone shot me, I'd be pretty vengeful too. Hey, tell me a funny story. You seem like you still got a sense of humor. Sweet happy tales if in the make you snooze. What's my future look? I ain't looking for a traveling companion if that's what you mean. I do fine by myself, so just stick to mine and your own. I want a story that scares me. Now I'm older, almost nobody can do it. Give me your best shot. Stranger. Spooky campfire tales are my favorite. Traps and such like. Well, one time in Fort Worth, a feller tried to take Cass and Flip away. Said a kid couldn't look out for him proper like. That they were fat in Fort Worth and they were going to the pound so that he could find him a good home. Well, before I could much argue, Flip bit the hell out of that busybody and Cass and I joined in shortly. I don't think I ever seen a fella so surprised. Guess I ain't going back to Fort Worth no more. I want to hear a story about ghosts or murderers or something. Scary stuff. Well, that sure was a downer. Give me a good venture tale instead any day. Sad. Oh, so you think just 'cause I'm young, I gotta be sad, crying after my mama every night. I don't need you looking after me, so if you're offering, don't. And I thought I told you to be respectful. What you really ought to be asking yourself is if you want to keep enjoying my spot or not. I want to hear one of them venturing tales. Got any? Enough tearjerkers in it without telling stories like that? My family. There ain't no way I'm gonna start jaw flapping about those bastards. Judases, the lot of them. Enough said. Oh, heck, the night's over already. I sure enjoyed talking to you, but I gotta get on. I think I'll see what's happening up the road this way. Tramping life suits me just fine. Every day is a venture. With things being so depressed, folks walk around like it's the end of everything good. But it ain't. Plenty nice things to see if you know where to look.
few wanderers like you are looking for a place to camp.
We heard there's a Leatherman cave nearby.
They tell you. They describe a locally famous vagrant who hiked this area for almost 30 years.
He's dead now, but his caves are the best place to camp in any town.
You and the other wanderers find the cave easily, because someone's lit a fire there. As you approach, you see a silhouette bend over the flames with an odd creaking sound, like a door swinging in the wind. His coat is crudely stitched from leather plates that squeak against each other.
The Leatherman,
one of the others whispers.
a ghost.
The Leatherman must have heard, but he just stares. His face is corpse still. He's eating, you say, and point out his can of beans.
Je ne suis pas un fantôme,
The Leatherman says, and adds,
idiot. Oh,
bursts your companion.
Canadien.
Soon he and the Leatherman are deep in conversation, and your group has a safe place to rest.
My heels into the ground. 'Cause when that ferryman come for to tally up my worth, I won't leave much behind to drag me down. Well, I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep that stride stuck in my soul. 'Cause when my toes burn low and my trains run out of track, I won't be no one else to dig my hole. Well, I got no companion except the wind and the sea. And when I'm gone and dead, they're the ones who'll bury me. Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by and by I'll see them far and long. 'Cause when the night come down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale, my vagrant song. This will be my tale, my vagrant song.
Outside the small thicket of apple trees, the phrase "tended to by John Chapman" is carved into a fence post. Nearby, a hound lies on its side, perfectly still. Flies buzz around its ears. But a grizzled man pauses at his digging to shoo them off. There's an extra shovel. With it, the two of you make short work of the grave. He tells you about his beliefs, why he's raising apple orchards in the middle of the country. It's a sin to graft, he tells you. Hurts the tree. Eventually, the hole is deep enough. He stoops to the ground and lowers the pup into the earth. Tears flow freely. I'll see him again in heaven, he tells you. Our souls are bound by love. He wipes his eyes. I don't think I can bear to stay here, though. Maybe I'll sit out again.
I'm gonna keep last rites tucked in my soul. 'Cause when my coals burn low and my trains run out of track, I won't be no one else to dig my hole. Well, I got no companion except the wind and the sea. And when I'm gone and dead, they're the ones who'll bury me. Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by I'll see them far and long. 'Cause when the night come down for to take me hand in hand,
The edge of summer has turned the ocean choppy and misanthropic, and the skies miserably gray. The boardwalk prophetess lured you into her tent with a promise to read a fortune for free. Seems like business has slowed to a crawl already. Before you lie the instruments of her profession. There's tarot cards, Rider-Waite, but also Marseille for traditionalists, rosary beads and costume jewelry, and of course, the centerpiece, a great glass globe. With practiced theatricality, she goes directly for the crystal ball, letting her eyes unfocus as though she can see a great distance into it. She brings up names, places, asks if you've known someone called John, if you have a relative in Newark. You'll latch on to what she says, and together you dance towards some insights about your romantic prospects. It's relieving to meet an honest charlatan instead of the ghouls and ghasts of the road. You might even say you're having fun, until she abruptly stops talking. Your eyes, she says, her voice suddenly drained of the bassy drama that was her stock in trade. You've met him. You've seen him, too. You carry him with you. The words that come out of your mouth are not your own. They seem unwilling or unable to form properly out of a human throat. They're more like snarls, warning noises of a vicious animal. The glass globe shatters. Your vision is hazy, and your body is not your own. You came far to get away from me, the voice lodged inside you says. But this one has a way of wandering. The fortune teller has collapsed, cowering. Consider your debt to me repaid. When you come to your senses, you're lying face down on the rough wood of the boardwalk, sore and weak. An empty patch of wood, cleaner than the surrounding planks, is all that remains of the fortune teller's tent.
Stranger, it's good to see you again. You know, I'm gonna see this whole world one day, but for now, I just got my sights set on seeing all 48 of the great U.S. I already seen 10 whole states. That's better than my folks ever done, that's for sure. Plenty of townies and even some tramps treat me like I'm kid simple, but I ain't helpless, and I only act it when I ain't got no better choice, like if I get pinched. I do right fine on my own, don't need nobody but Cass and Flip. Hey, tell me a funny story. You seem like you still got a sense of humor. That was a chuckle to be sure. Faith. Well, I ain't the religious type, though I was raised in the Christian way. I reckon I don't see no point to trusting a God that could squash you in an instant. Such a situation don't exactly breed trusting. Hey, tell me one of those exciting stories. Well, that was something. You spin a good yarn. Huh, authority. The coppers and rail yard dicks don't ruffle me none. I just tell them my poor ma and my poor pa died of the pneumonia. I give 'em crocodile tears about trying to get over to my grand just down the way. All I got's left is my dogs, mister. Works damn near every time. I want to hear a story about ghosts or murderers or something. Scary stuff. You spin a good yarn. I was shivering there for a little bit. I remember lots of folks talking about fate and fortune before I started my travels. Talk on the river was about them populists and their Louisiana governor. Some folks say they was up to no good, that they were lazy and un-American, cheating fate with government meddling. Others said we all got the right to be kings, if we'd only let all folks have a fair shot. I suppose I ain't right in line with neither, but I don't think there's nothing un-American about needing help. Hey, do you got any really thrilling stories to tell? I'm hankering for one of those. Ain't life got enough tear-jerkers in it without telling you want to talk about heaven? Ain't no good I can recall coming my life from praying. Small things, big things, no answer all the same. I'm in the mood for something. Get too much out of tales that are so cheerful. Not enough love story. Well, Some of the songs say love is like being sick in your heart. Don't sound too pleasant to me. I love my dogs, but it don't feel like being sick. Being sick in your heart sounds more like getting Judased, something I know a thing or two about. Well, sun's coming up, so I've got to get ready to go. Thanks for the tales, friend. Where you heading next? Decided yet? Maybe our paths will cross. I'm going up the road this way myself. Hope I'll see something fun. I generally do, you know. There's interesting things to see everywhere if you keep your eyes open.
Together to fill the sky. You shelter beneath a rocky overhang. Above, the clouds turn gray and purple and blue. Lightning arcs between them. The hairs on the back of your arms stand on end. The lightning is so strong that it seems to open a path in the haze above you. You're sure you see massive talons curved around the clouds. The thunder is so immense that the ground trembles. Your lips and hands tingle from the electric charge that fills the air until the dancing lightning passes on over the hills. As you walk along the river near an unfinished bridge, a man with a tool belt catches sight of you. "Hey, over there," he calls out. "You look like you could use a quick way to get some hard-earned money." Hard-earned is right. The bridge hangs high over a perilous drop. "Great!" he exclaims. "Suppose you'll want a safety belt. We Thunderbird people don't need 'em. We fly when we fall." He chuckles. You find yourself up high, looking over the rushing river that crashes around the foundation of the bridge. As you work side by side, the man mentions, "You can see Thunderbirds up here if you know how to look." You ask him to explain. "Practice your peripheral vision, if you dare. Last thing you need up here is for them to see you seeing them and come swooping at you." You only see the clouds thicken. It sure does pass the time working. The man pays you well when you're done with the job.
Sorry, friend, but I gotta ask you not to get no closer unless I can see your hands at all times. Look too clean to be one of us. But you don't look like the company sent you neither. Alright, come and share my fire spell. Don't linger. These hills is full of ears. Don't think just 'cause you can't see no one that you're safe. And I'll give you cornbread. Don't be so sure of me neither. See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just seen dogs. You'd be popular at mealtime where I'm from. You'd keep a whole crew glued, I bet. Home? I always wanted a little place where I could watch the sky change color, watch the cook fire smoke dance up among the pines. See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just seen dogs. Are you trying to scare me? Every man in the last meeting I ran could tell you a story scarier than that right off the top of his head. Fortune? That's what they promised. They tell these men, get on the train. There's work for you on the other end. They say, pack up, bring your families. Come on, earn your keep in the land of the free. So they pack up. These men quite a ways from their home already. And if they make it to the mine town alive, the company tells them, gotta use our tools. Take it out your first month's pay. Train ticket here too. Nothing you get doesn't come from us. First day you go down to work, you might even be in debt already. What can they do but go down all in a line? See anything exciting out there on the road? Most of them. Guess there ain't no joke that works on everyone. Trust. Can I trust you? If I asked you how many widows were made when the number 9 fell in, would you know? What year it was when they walked Samuels and his boys down to Big Sandy and done them like criminals? You heard the word of Mother Jones? If you can't answer these, I can't. I need a laugh. Know any good jokes? You got some wit, stranger. I remember looking between my mama's ankles down the road. Every evening, she'd be whispering. Still don't know if she were counting the workers or praying about them. See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just seen dogs. Brings me back. There was a time when me and Big Ben could just enjoy exciting stories like this one. Innocent. Travel? Well, next time you take a train, take a peek on up at its beating heart. It's black breath. That's just what a mining man looks like inside it. Coal dust, smoke, and fire. Morning. I gotta get going. Headed up that way. Won't be specific for my safety and yours. You want to find me, then do it. Talk again about these things. Coal ain't got no country. No worker neither. Worker ain't Virginian, Christian, white, colored, Irish, Polish, nothing. A worker is a worker. We all gotta work. You're one of them. If you think I sound red, you best come out and say so. Get it over with.
man is the color of mill dust. His smile creases his face like folds in dough. He gestures you inside the dilapidated structure and shouts over the sound of driving wheels.
You're welcome to sleep here. You don't want to rest by the river. Not in the evening. Insects.
The man shoves the broken door closed behind you. The mill is warm, and the air is heavy with the powder kicked up by your entrance. You realize how easy it would be to drift off on this pile of sacks to the loud but constant sound of the grinding wheels. Consciousness is elusive. Your limbs throb with a dull fatigue and your eyes are sticky with dust. The man suddenly grips your legs and drags you toward the millstone.
You do not love my daughter. You will not have her. I will not let you hurt her.
His voice is pained, not angry. Your hand catches a flour sack printed with brightly colored flowers. A puff of flour makes you sneeze, and you wake. The mill is quiet, its works long disconnected. In your hand is the faded remnant of what might once have been a bag or a piece of a dress.
Well, I'm gonna scrawl my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground. 'Cause when that ferryman comes for to tally up my worth, I won't leave much to find that can be found. Well, I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep lacerates tucked in my soul. 'Cause when my coals burn low and my trains run out of track, won't be no one else to dig my hole. Well, I got no companion except the wind and the sea. And when I'm cold and empty, they're the ones who'll bury me. Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by I'll see them far and long. When the night come down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale, my vagrant song. Yeah, this will be my tale, my vagrant song.
chest. This hole ain't gonna heal. And the swing of guitar strings is about the only thing I feel. And if it was second chances, I don't know which way I would choose. Oh, yeah, the thing about down is I need this soul sucker blues. Going down to the river, gonna cleanse my soul. Going down to the river, gonna cleanse my soul. That current gonna take firm hold of me. That water gonna make me whole. Going down to the river, gonna cleanse my soul. Won't heed temptation, I just walk on by. Won't heed temptation, I just walk on by. Yeah, the devil gonna lay his snare for me, but his power I will deny. Won't heed temptation, just walk on by. Oh, yeah.
Electric lamps stipple the cotton field before you with an orange light, moving like a group of lethargic fireflies. From the field, the voices of the workers reach you in a soulful, united song. You're gently lulled to sleep as the song floats over you. And oh, Lordy, pick a bale of cotton. And oh, Lordy, pick a bale a day. You're pulled out of your slumber by a woman's pained scream and a collection of shouts rising from the field. The woman's screams taper off, soon replaced by the raw cries of an infant. Applause briefly fills the night, eventually fading back into song. Oh, Lordy, you wake up to the gentle crescendo of the worker's song, unsure if it ever ceased at all. His smile lights up the room, or rather the cab of the locomotive. Folks gather round as he holds the pull cord. He's a showman through and through.
You'll want to cover your ears now for this next part.
Sure doesn't help much. The engineer pulls that chain and the whistle blasts inside your skull. He just smiles through it all. Man must be half deaf. A round of applause erupts from the small crowd. He passes out bubble gum to the shell-shocked kids, half of them in awe, half in tears.
Remember now who gets you there on the advertised. Casey Jones.
Everyone's all talk as they head back to their seats, that engineer sure is handsome. Gosh, and that whistle sounded just like a whippoorwill, didn't it? Ain't this the way to travel? Rest in a field where a well-dressed stranger talks your ear off on all manner of subjects. The weather, fireflies in summer, how combine harvesters work. After a while, the mood shifts.
Heard my death bones this morning. Death bones. Heard 'em rattle like clank, clink, clank. More startling than wind chimes in a tornado.
He plucks dry grass and chews on a piece.
Ain't much time left now. That don't matter. I'm fine. Got my savior waiting at the pearly gates.
The man shifts uncomfortably.
Well, at least I do as of this afternoon, I hope. Nearly knocked the pastor's door down earlier. Sure was good to meet you.
The man pauses, rubs his chin in contemplation.
Don't let the bedbugs bite.
He walks off slow. After his silhouette becomes small in the horizon, but before he vanishes, you see him collapse to the ground.
I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep lacerates tucked in my soul. 'Cause when my coals burn low and my trains run out of track, won't be no one else to dig my hole.
He's small for his age, boy of 13 or so, sitting on an upturned bucket by the side of a tiny wedge of farmland. The dog, as though by contrast, is massive, an enormous yellow-brown mutt. He's called Rover, the boy explains.
Paul says he can't come with us. West.
You notice the Model A truck on the yard, piled high with furnishings and trunks and bags and knots of rope to tie it all together. And upon all that, too, yet more dust and grit.
Pa says it has to be better.
With one toe tip, he scratches a parabola on the dead, dry ground.
Pa says we can't afford to feed Rover no more.
You can't tell where the blonde of the dog's coat ends and the omnipresent dust begins. Same goes for the boy's hair.
Will you take him?
Rover follows you eagerly after you feed him the tiniest sliver of jerky. But a few hours later, he snaps to attention, as though hearing some distant noise your ears can't catch. The last you see of him are the markings left by his dirty pelt on the leaves of the underbrush.
Well, I'm gonna scroll my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground. 'Cause when that ferryman comes for to tally up my worth, I won't leave much to find that can be found. Well, I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep lacerates tucked in my soul. 'Cause when my coals burn low and my trains run out of track, won't be no one else to dig my hole. Well, I got no companion except the wind and the sea. And when I'm cold and empty, they're the ones who'll bury me.
His clothes are expensive, but unkempt. A tailored jacket stretched and warped out of its best fit by long days on the road. His thinning frame weighs down the boxcar next to yours.
You got a light, friend?
You offer a match, which bends and nearly snaps as he scratches it against the pitted iron edge of the boxcar.
Thanks.
He mumbles, perching one last cigarette on his lip.
Don't rightly know where I'm going.
You notice how deeply wrinkled his clothes are. It's as though a huge hand plucked him from a high society party and crumpled him up like a sheet of paper.
Don't rightly know how I got going either.
Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by I'll see them far and long. 'Cause when the night come down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale.
They built a railway just past Missy Hudson's estate. Damned racket ruined our soiree. Might have been a few bottles of Armagnac too many when I walked down the tracks to tell them to keep it quiet.
He drags on the cigarette, but you never see him exhale.
I don't know you from anyone. But maybe in the end that don't matter so much, so long as we're after the same things. A little firelight, a little morsel, a minute or two of company. Well, I ain't got much, and I sure ain't got more than that. I'll share what I have. You'll do the same for a stranger one day by and by. See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly. Brings me back. There was a time when me and Big Ben could just enjoy exciting stories like this one. Innocent. Authority means being afraid, even though you know you're not the one in the wrong. And you can't show your fear, because you got all the others counting on you, looking to you about what to do. I had no time to get frightened, not even when they were dragging Union men and strangers alike out to the hills to get shot on suspicion of being Reds. You just had to tell the workers again and again how it was going to go right for them in the end. Even though sometimes I wasn't so sure myself. I need a laugh. Know any good jokes? Come on, don't try to cheer me up with that line, the future. With all due respect, friend, I find all I can say is I hope whoever's up there sees fit to make it turn out so this'll all have been for something. It has to turn out. That's the only point in keeping on. And that's true no matter what you're on this earth for, ain't it? Got any funny stories? Must have a couple. Come on, that's all made up. When you travel, you never want to let go where you're from, friend. Everywhere you go, we all bleed. Anyway, I need something to laugh about. Yeah. Stranger, miners tell me sadness. Yeah, speeches are for preachers. Hope she's happy. Lots of healthy babies. Did you see anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just seen dogs. Huh. Ain't funny to me. Bondage. My brother, Big Ben, he went down deep every day, I thought he was, and he had a mule, too. Well, I got my day at work in the end, and I always wondered whether one can hardly remember my brother, but I still think a lot about how his bones got no rest. Here comes the dawn, headed out this way. Can't say where specifically. My safety and yours, you understand. My journey ain't so long as the crow flies, but it's winding. Detours for hiding, for dodging dogs, and men with guns.